Welcome, everyone, to the RPG Goblin, a TTRPG exploration podcast where we usually discover different games like every single week, but this episode's going to be a little bit different as we are actually going to be having like a proper interview with Grant Howitt. If you don't know who Grant Howitt is, I don't really know how that's possible. Well, maybe you just don't know TTRPGs yet, but he is the designer behind great games such as like Heart the City Must Fall, right? Or no, The City Beneath. Yeah, The City
Close
Beneath.
enough.
I
You
know
got
what
it.
it is.
It's
Yeah.
all right.
Heart the City Beneath, Spire, and then probably you might know him more through the game called Honey Heist, which is basically, bear criminals, great game, goofy game. We love Grant's one-page RPGs here. But along with our special guest, Grant Howitt, we also have Grant Nordine from Game Master Monday as our sort of like co-host here for the vibes conversation guy. Yeah?
It's a Noobs All Grants episode, honestly,
Yeah.
is what we're
It's
doing
Noobs
here
All
today.
Grants.
The main
Willow
reason
double
I agreed
booked
to-
us. We both showed up. It's fine.
Yeah, this was actually just purely an accident.
We read the calendar.
Yeah, I guess you can be on the show.
Yeah, like, oh, okay.
How do you get the link?
See, it would be...
She was doing an interview and I came in halfway through and she started over. I don't know what happened.
No, actually, really the origin of this is when we were doing the Designing One-Shots episode. Grant Nordine absolutely loves goofy games that last one session, things like that, aka exactly what Grant Howitt does. Perfect one-page goofy games, and was saying like, man, it would be really awesome to actually talk to Grant Howitt, and so we made that possible.
Yeah.
What's up, motherfuckers? I read my mentions.
Hell yeah.
Not to be a weird fanboy about it or anything.
I've got very little on. I don't get asked to be on a lot of things.
That's crazy.
You'll find out why.
Not to be overly sincere or anything, but I told Willow in that episode that specifically your game, The Witch is Dead, is what blew the doors open for me for like running RPGs and finding the flavor of shit that I like, and was kind of one of the very early one-shots I got to record for our show proper now. And man, Willow was like, you might not hear a lot about like a specific RPG today. I'm like, this guy has written like easily 50 brilliant fucking things, and I'm just stoked to be in the same recording session.
I'm actually over 100 now.
I was gonna say 100, and then I was like, I don't want to overshoot it.
No, it's done. I think I just put out the 80th one page.
That's crazy.
I'm
incredible.
quite keen to stop.
Oh my, yeah.
At some point soon.
Like we're not going to be hearing about one type of game. We're going to be hearing about probably a million types of games throughout this whole episode. So everyone just like have a pen and paper ready, write them all down, check them out.
Fuck. I'm not a note-taking GM, Willow.
Well, you have to be this time, all right? All right, you can
Shit.
take notes one time. It's okay.
I got season school.
But yeah, no, I mean, for me personally, Honey Heist, I think, was either the first or second TTRPG I ever played outside of D&D. I played it with a group that I normally play D&D with. It was their first ever TTRPG for sure outside of D&D, and it went insane. I had a polar bear commit vehicular manslaughter, and I can just thank and I can thank you for that. It was beautiful. And I also played The Witch Instead and love it.
I'm really excited to hear about that, and it's really nice to see that I've been able to permeate, like with Honey Heist especially, I've been able to permeate the underground of this fine hobby.
Yeah,
and it's become kind of like a game bong that gets passed around in between, like
what a great term.
in between sessions. And if like D&D's like dinner, I'm not making. I'm not serving dinner.
The after dinner bong.
The after dinner bong.
Shall we retire to the drawing room? Huff down some fat clouds.
Fuck yeah.
Jeffrey, have you any of that good kind? Yeah,
it's so true though.
but my experience of role playing games, the first things which I really got exposed to, because I grew up in the countryside in Portugal, and my folks moved over there when I was just going to secondary school, or high school as you'd call it, and my first exposure to RPGs was like free downloadable games in 2002. So like text files,
Yeah.
HTML pages, that sort of shit. And
Right.
so I hadn't read Dungeons and Dragons until I got to university, and I'd already been playing role playing games for a few years. But my first exposure to role playing games was as this sort of weird, crusty, strange thing. And I think I discovered big motherfucking crab truckers before I'd played D&D. Sorry,
Big
are you
Yeah.
aware? Oh,
That's
yeah. Big motherfucking crab truckers is kind of closer to my oeuvre, and it's like a decade before I started. It's like all that bubble gum.
No.
Oh my days. Oh, so I didn't make this shit up
Yeah,
broadly.
yeah.
And it arises from how I first saw games, which was this weird sort of grubby strangeness on the internet. And I'm really glad that I've been able to carry on doing that for a new generation of people who are like, oh, role playing. You got to count your arrows, right? And I move 30 foot around. Shut the fuck up. You're a
shut
bear.
the. Oh my god, my heart. A man after my own heart.
I got one mechanic and it's barely finished.
For those who aren't, I cannot believe I never made that connection. So big motherfucking crab truckers, yeah, that's by who made that? That's Mailbox, right? Who did that? MALE.
I only ever saw it on 4chan, which dates
Oh, that's
this.
super
I only
fair.
ever saw it on 4chan with all the names scrubbed off like they share my games.
Oh my god.
I love that. Oh my god.
No one really knows who made Honey Heist. It's like a JD Salinger
Yeah.
situation.
The first short game I put out was a game called Dr. Magnet Hands. Like one of the more popular ones is a game called Dr. Magnet Hands, and I found it on 4shared.com, and they downloaded it, taken out my name, and uploaded it again. Like
Jesus.
like I was some sort of like recalcitrant emperor. And they decided they want to
He can
strike
never know
me
we
from
did this.
history.
Yeah.
Oh, but no,
Sorry,
big
big motherfucking
yeah,
crab
big
truckers. My
motherfucking
apologies.
crab truckers. I'm not intimately familiar with this game, but I have been aware of it because it has the greatest intro line to maybe any RPG from that era ever. And it's if I hope I get it right after that big intro, but it's like bold print, one side of the page, and then it just says, "Okay, here's the fucking deal," and then it just explains the rest of the game.
That's so good. Yes, every RPG should start like that.
Yeah. I just found it. Yes, it's literally, okay, here's the fucking deal. And then it explains the rules of the game. It rocks.
I have never heard about this game before, and I now have a new mission in life.
Absolute forerunner. Absolute forerunner. I think it's maybe not as playable or accessible as some of the more modern games. It's like Lasers and Feelings, for example, because it's a very focused story. You know, you are big motherfucking crab truckers.
Yeah.
But it has that concept of like, you are something unusual, and we're barely going to give you the rules to do it, and it only has to hang together for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. This connects like a lot of my favorite Howitt projects. Because like a lot of your stuff is kind of in that same vein. Like you were saying, you are an odd thing and you must go on an adventure. Jason Statham's Big Vacation comes to mind off the bat for something like that.
When you shared that with me, oh my god.
Jason Statham's Big Vacation?
Yeah, I never saw that one before.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Have you seen the back page of that one, Grant?
The back page of it? Okay, see, I have it in my library and I've ran this game, but now I'm like,
well, like for the physicals, we put out a secret back page for every single game. And the one for Jason Statham's Big Vacation is Bryan Cranston's Big Expansion. And we actually got him in to write it. It's amazing.
That's amazing.
Like it's weird because it sounds like he just sort of repeated a lot of the stuff from his Wikipedia entry. But he did a great drawing of Jason's dog, so we reprinted it.
That rocks. I gotta get my hands on that.
Right?
I love Jason Statham's Big Vacation. I remember reading that game for the first time, and I was like, the title is funny in and of itself, and then you read that the villain of the game is called the Wesley Sniper, and I'm like, this guy fucks.
This guy
I love
fucks.
this dude.
This is so good. This is just like I know, at least for me, you know, it's been like within the last like year. Year that I've gotten into TTRPG, so I'm still pretty new in this, and so being able to hear like all of this stuff that that I don't think I would have been able to hear.
I'm also, my sincere apology for being like, oh my god, you haven't heard of X? Boo. Sorry
She's
about that.
little.
Obviously,
She's very small.
Yeah, you're like
I'm a baby.
12 years old.
Yeah.
And my apologies. That's not a cool thing. You have so much to look forward to. There is just the internet is a vast mine of bullshit, and there's so much fun in there.
It truly is. Yeah, no, I look very forward to all of the off the wall games, and yours were definitely the first introduction into that. Oh my, this is gonna be fantastic. So guys, I'll just say this very quick. If you're listening to this episode, just be prepared for it to be chaotic.
Unfocused.
I think, yeah, unfocused, chaotic. It's
I've listened to some of your other shows. I don't what. It's not.
Will
that be a surprise to your listenership?
It's my fault.
No, not really.
A little bit.
It's just what you expect, at least for sure, when Grant is on here. You're a fly.
I have a great analogy about flies and eating shit. Yeah.
Which we still need to make.
Oh my days, that was so useful. That analogy.
I know.
Thank you.
That
Thank you.
Yeah, just like if anyone didn't catch this, it was in the podcast which led to my arrival. But Grant's was an actor that you were saying? Like, describe that. Or was it just your invention?
That was me off the dome.
Oh shit.
If you let me talk for long enough, I'll eventually say something brilliant.
Yeah, it's very clever, and I think like your character is a fly on shit. What's shit? What are you running after? And that's such a great way to go into a role playing game, because so often, especially with like newer players or older players who are stuck in their ways, you'll start jamming and they'll just be like, oh, I don't know, oh, I'm gonna hang out over here, oh, I don't know, and they'll be really passive and it's boring. And if I've got a table full of people who are wildly trying to find the plot, all I want.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like it's true. I make my bread and butter running one shots for my podcast, you know. So when I got to talk about it, I had to sit there and like think about my philosophy a little bit, and it's pretty much just like keep the pacing up. And I'm just like talking to Willow about it, and suddenly the analogy comes into my brain. Maybe I recently watched A Bug's Life. I don't know.
Do they eat a lot of shit in that film?
There's a scene in A Bug's Life where it's like two flies in a bar, and like a waitress comes by. And who ordered the poo-poo platter? This they just go nuts on a piece of shit. This is a PG movie for children. Like,
it's a great movie though.
You know, it's like, yeah, if you're playing a one shot, or hell, if you're designing a one shot, you know, who is the fly? What shit do they need to eat before they die? You know?
It's golden advice. It truly is.
Thank you. I hope that to be my legacy as I when I leave this mortal coil one day. I hope there are many flies.
Grant
and many shits on
fly
my
Nordine.
Please.
Oh, you're the shit guy. Yeah.
Oh, you're the shit guy. Oh, dude.
Guilty as charged.
Actually,
just throw my hands up in the air. They're covered in shit. Like, yeah.
Been practicing. I actually sell shit. I've got some in the back of my car. If you need some, I'll be selling some off.
All-purpose shit.
It's branded. Yeah, you can submit this on your plot, or any sort of plot element or character you want.
Manure, pranks. Yep, I think those are the two main things you use it for. So yeah.
Ask me a question.
Will. You have any questions?
Let's do an interview.
Absolutely. So I actually, with this conversation leading up with, Grant being known as the shit guy, I'm curious of what. I'm curious.
I'm the piss guy. Thank you for asking.
Right. You're the piss guy. Okay, yeah. Got the opposites. Good. Or not opposites.
Compliments.
Complimentary. Yeah. But
that's so for Grant, it's more of a life advice thing, and it's a sex thing for me. So.
It works great because like you can't like that's crass. I was gonna say you can't take a shit without taking a piss.
You're shit, Grant. Do you know piss, Grant? Well, I was in a show with him once actually. Sorry, no, I'm not pissed, Grant. I'm sorry. Well, I asked the question.
Yeah, no, you're.
Holy shit!
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So I'm.
Why did I wear a hoodie?
I don't know. It's you laugh and
I always
it gets
get
warm.
hot when I laugh. Yeah. Ask the question, Mil.
Yeah. So, I am curious though, specifically of what you think about being like the Honey Heist guy, like
Mm,
that being like the TTRPG that I like you are the most known for. You know, if I hear your
mm.
name, it's Honey Heist connected to it. It's not usually any of the other games, and I'm really curious of what you think about that kind of being your legacy, at least
Well,
right now.
no, that's fine. It will be. Let's be honest here. I mean,
Yeah,
it is, and it will continue to be.
unless you make
Um,
something even more off the wall that people just like are
well,
like, oh,
you know what? You know what? I think it is a keen reminder and a humbling reminder of how important it is to get played on Critical Role.
uh,
Uh,
Yeah.
that's actually a really good point.
Oh, is that
yeah.
all?
that was in what was that 2017, I think they played it. I
Mm-hmm.
18 maybe, I don't quite remember. Um, and I got a message from Marisha Ray, one of
Mhm.
the one of the three women in Critical Role. I didn't know who the fuck she was, and so a woman messaged me and said, "Oh, I'm interested in running a game on stream. Do you have any advice?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's easy. Don't worry,
Yeah.
it's fine."
Yeah.
And then like looked her up as, oh, Matt Mercer follows you. Oh fuck. Um,
Oh,
and
Matt Mercer very follows you.
oh yeah, he very much follows you all the way down the altar. But she was absolutely fantastic about it, and she was really keen to say like, we're playing this game, and here's Grant, here's his patron.
Mhm.
Here's where you can find it, and like I sent her a t-shirt with the game on it, and she wore the t-shirt on
Oh,
stream
I
when
love
she ran
that.
it and that sort of thing. And she like in every instance she's always taken extra time to say, this is where you can get the game from, go and support the creator.
Mhm.
And most people don't do that.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
considering that she was like the you know what, I'll say it, Yogscast. Yeah, I'm coming for
Aha!
you, Yogscast.
Starting beef in the RPG Goblin.
And like it don't matter so much these days, you know. I'm doing all right now. I'm not bitter about
Right,
it. But
of course.
many years ago, they played Honey Heist. They played Goblin Quest, my first ever role playing game,
Mhm.
on stream. And apparently, they found it in the fucking woods, and all the names had been scratched out
Oh.
because they didn't say, oh, and by the way, you can buy it here from this struggling author.
Uh-huh.
And so like anyway, because Marisha was so good at that kind of resulted in our success in our company
Mhm.
now. And like we've got like, I mean, shit, we there's 10 people in the business,
That's
and we're writing
awesome.
games, and most of us are full time, and it is absolute luck that Marisha, and you know it's a good game and it works and
Mhm.
that's fine. But Marisha found it and she was like, yeah, okay, I'll have that. And this benediction from the gods of TTRPG internet came down
Mhm.
and she touched me briefly on the forehead, and I was filled with a divine golden light, and then I had a career. And it's okay. You know what? I spend most of my time now, and I'm really glad I get to do this, writing big serious games.
Mhm.
I did me and Chris did Spire, we did Heart, and
Mhm.
we've been working on the last 2.5 years for on a game called Hollows, which is started off as, wouldn't it be fun to fight big monsters? Because every time
Of
you fight a
course.
big monster in a role playing game, kind of just maths,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it gets a bit boring. And so we iterated and iterated and iterated and went on, and then like I think like by the 12th draft, I was like, and it's about toxic masculinity and the fall of
There it
empire.
Of
is.
course, yeah,
There's there it is, and then suddenly I cared, and like the all of these games are about, you know, they're about depression, they're about inequality, and they're about these enormous profound things that we feel. Like Heart is a game about dying and
Mhm.
having the best possible death, and Hollows is a game about dying over and over and over until you become someone else's problem.
Mhm.
You cut your character when your character
Been
is
there.
when your character is killed in Hollows, you become a dungeon for everyone else to go into and murder you.
That's so
And
good.
it's
No,
pretty
Hollows
cool.
rips. Willow, you
Yeah.
Yeah,
gotta play Hollows.
it's pretty
I
neat.
have not heard of this one. Absolutely. Oh my god.
Oh,
I love
I will.
monster hunting games, so
Oh,
absolutely.
oof. Well, I hope you like 1860s England, because
You know what?
that's the closest we have to a historical time on what's the word, an anachronistic setting. Anyway, point being,
Mm.
um, I write big serious games, and they're about things,
Mhm.
and like like Chris and I try to do things where we can talk about the uh, imposter syndrome, and then put rules in that for put pistol rules in about imposter syndrome, and we don't say, "Hey, this is imposter syndrome, guys," but
Right.
we want the game mechanics to make you feel like an imposter, and that sort of thing. And like that's really that's clever work, and it's hard work. And Honey Heist, I dashed out on a bus, but people love it, and it resonates with people. And I think that, like, sure, like I can write 250-page books, and and we can have them produced beautifully, and we can get art made for them, and we have a whole team of people creating something absolutely incredible, and then these works of art. But what matters is sitting down around a table and playing games. And Honey Heist has done that for thousands of people all over the world. Is they've seen this chicken scratch bullshit on a single bit of paper. They've seen this thing which like they downloaded off the internet for free, not from me, just someone else who decided to upload it. And they look at it and they're like, well, this can't be that hard, can it? And they have a go. And it's fun, and it's freewheeling, and it's not, oh, okay, well, the door has this many hit points, and then there's 7 goblins in the other. It's like, no.
No, it's brain empty. You run it like when I ran it for the first time, it was after I didn't get like any sleep. I had no time to even like really look at the game past like what the rules were. And then I got into it and we played, and it was amazing.
You can waste a lot of time by reading a game before you run it, I find.
Yeah. Preach.
So I am thrilled and excited and a bit humbled to be the part of, to be that first step into role playing, and especially that first step into role playing where people are like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
Oh, what can it do?
Yeah.
And then maybe they never play again. Or maybe they're like, oh, I'll try Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, this works for me. I'll buy every Dungeons and Dragons. Fine, whatever, sure. But sure. I really hope that this opens up the world of playing pretend. I've been able to open up the world of playing pretend with people and letting off some steam and having fun with your friends or people who might become your friends. Because I've made every friend I've had as a GM. I find people that I like the look of, and then I like, oh, do you want to come to a place where I control all the social interaction?
Where I have all the power.
And if you do it wrong, I can ask you to leave. And the good ones, I slowly stop playing Dungeons and Dragons with them. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah. Wow, do I feel seen? Finally, I have complete control of what happens in the social interaction.
I know.
Not that I'm pretty extroverted, but it's also like I'm also a little narcissistic, so it's a really lethal combination for a GM. I was gonna just like add on because like for those who don't know, Grant does a lot of writing for Rowan, Rook, and Descartes, and which I've been following for like the hottest of minutes because I am just so stoked for Eat the Reich to come out. Speaking of big games with big important themes, eating Nazis.
Smooth-brained one-shot bait. It was described as on the internet, and that's pretty
really
accurate. Yeah,
really.
Yeah,
well,
I think that. I don't think they were cruel, but they weren't wrong.
As a smooth-brained person who runs one-shots for a podcast, it worked.
It got me.
I was hooked immediately. But I mean, like I said it before, like I got my start doing RPGs by running D&D, and the number one thing I kept thinking as I learned how to play D&D incorrectly for a long time, because I refused to read any book for any reason about that game, I was just like, man, this is so fucking complicated, and I don't know if this hobby is really for me. And then I found The Witch is Dead. And I was like, oh my thank fuck.
And like I'm like, so Witch is Dead is the first one I ever did. That was my first ever one-page game. It's an experiment.
It's so good. I love that game.
It's a little OSR game. But like it ties into the old school Renaissance or revival or whatever you want to call it. In like everything's really hard and you have to cheat to win. And
yeah,
I think every single game of The Witch is Dead, without fail, they've tried to kill the witch hunter by summoning dinner in his mouth, or like by because like for anyone who doesn't know, the setup of The Witch is Dead is you play the familiars of a witch, and she gets killed in this really sweary intro paragraph, which makes every American parent really upset. Like and then you have to go and find the witch hunter, rip out his eyes, bring them back to her corpse, so she comes back to life. And I will say, I got complaints about the language. Didn't get any complaints about the eye gouging or the murder or the black magic.
USA. We're cool with gore, we're cool with sex stuff, but the minute you start cussing,
this would be a great game for me to play with my kids. But could you maybe replace the fucks in the first paragraph with the word
maybe
gun?
don't read it.
Sir, she has to eat eyes. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Broadly, the gag there is that you're given a mission to go and kill someone, and you don't have what you need to do it, and so you have to cheat. And like all the spells you have are like read book or open door or make plant grow. And what you need is like, throw knife, and so you have to come up with interesting uses for these powers, and it's convincing the GM that stuff works.
Yeah.
And I've gone back and forth on OSR a lot, like throughout my career and throughout my time as a player. But I think there's something really quite charming about saying like, okay, you have to get through this one by the skin of your teeth, and you have to work out a trick to overcome what I've done, rather than I'm going to turn up and roll dice and do the thing. As opposed to say Honey Heist, which is there's no working out tricks. That's not, the game is not a puzzle to be solved.
No,
there's no, it's the dice barely show, like the dice don't really affect the story that much. It's just high kinetic bears knocking back and forth.
And if anyone doesn't know too, and I just think it's the funniest thing, is the two stats in Honey Heist are just bear and criminal too. Like it's real easy.
Early influence for lasers and feelings? Who's to say?
Actually,
well,
wasn't lasers and feelings first?
I was gonna say.
Yeah. It's almost like I didn't realize I was doing this. It's almost like I made lasers and feelings. It's almost like I made lasers and feelings slightly more approachable by removing the bit where you have to pick a number and then roll under or over that number, because it's really hard for players to wrap their heads around. But if it's just like, hey, you got criminal and bear. Oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
Great. I've ran a lot of lasers and feelings.
Yeah, me
hacks,
too.
And no matter what, no matter who it is, how seasoned they are, how seasoned I am at running them, it's always, wait, which one is over again?
Yeah, it just, like there's something about like having the core of your character be a number from 2 to 5. It doesn't land. But if I've got four lasers and 2 feelings. Cool, okay, I can understand that, I can see that.
Yes.
But no, lasers and feelings was very much like it pretty much uses the same system, except mine's got a bit of an arc in it, and it's not as John. I really appreciate John Harper's way of scene setting. Yeah. I think that like and giving you little arcs in a session, like his game Lady Blackbird does, which was again like came out 2008, I think, years and years ago. That has character arcs in a one shot supported by the XP system. And like that blew my fucking mind when I saw
dope.
that.
Wait, hold up.
It's so clever.
Hold up, I gotta find this.
Just to really briefly outline it. Your character has a number of keys, and every time you tap a key, you get 1 XP. And these things might be so the captain has the key of the good captain. And this means that every time you help out your crew, or you give up something so that they can succeed, you get 1 XP, and you spend XP to both level up your character and re-roll dice. So it's kind of a potency thing as well. And then you can do that as long as you want. And once per game, you can break a key and get 10 XP, completely act against it, and never access it again. And for the captain, it's like, right, rat out or betray one of your crew. Ooh. And it's just such a clever way of saying, right, this is normal, and then it changed, and it incentivizes you to do it. It pushes you into a situation where you need this XP and you need this dice to make it so clever. Yeah, John's absolutely incredible game designer, and the only reason
he did Blades in the Dark too, right?
He did Blades in the Dark. He did Ghost Lines. I
love Ghost Lines.
He did Aegon. The only reason why I am able to stand alongside him is because I put out 6 or 7 times as many games as he does. John Harper rolls up to the internet once every 2 or 3 years and go, "Here, I've made you a perfect gem," and just throws it. Blades, fucking Blades came along, and it was like, oh, what if Apocalypse World was accessible and set in Dishonored? It just changed, and everyone was doing Blades hacks.
Yeah, and
no,
it's
he's
a
like
everywhere now.
game.
He's absolutely tremendous, and I just try and rely on Way of Fire.
Have you ever run into like anyone hacking one of your systems? Because we talk a lot about like lasers
absolutely.
and feelings hacks and blades hacks, but like
there's
I'm
a ton
curious.
of Honey Heist hacks.
Yeah.
Oh, I know
Honey
the Honey
Heist
Heist hacks for sure. Like something doesn't get that big without
my
being like
favorite
tinkered
one
with.
is Be Gay Do Crimes.
Be Gay,
Oh
of
yeah,
course.
Be Gay,
yeah.
which is a game of Honey Heist, and like you can play either a bear or a real bear, an actual physical Ursus bear. And it's set at a pride parade, and you have to cause chaos. I think amongst the rainbow corporate floats, but I think people have done some hacks. There's been buckets of Honey Heist hacks, and I get a lot of translations of my games. Like so, a lot of people translate the more popular ones into, or like the ones which they really like, into other languages. But no, like there's not a huge community around my one-page games is the other thing. And I think like for hacks to develop, you need to have people discuss the rules.
Yeah.
And once a community arises, then people are like, oh, here's an interesting thing we can play with and do this around here. And every one-page game is like, there's nowhere to go and talk about my one-page game. I don't have a Discord or anything, because there's nothing to fucking talk about. It's there. It's done. Go play it. It's not that deep.
Yeah, it's not that deep. It's literally on one page. You don't. There's no other discussion that has to happen there, and like other than like flavoring it in different ways.
Yeah, and you can write it, and you can put extra things in, and you can mess around with the stuff. But really, like I think for hacks to happen, you need to have people going, well, I reckon I can do this, as opposed to, well, this is finished.
And I think like even with one-page games, there is a community, but it's more the community of like, look how cool these games are versus like, I'm going to dissect the game. Yeah.
Also, you can't make money out of one-page games. Is the other thing, and I do all right. I've got a pretty robust Patreon, which is very nice, but that's not what's paying my mortgage, and because there's no way of like getting money and then supporting a community around that. I think and because the barrier to entry is so low, and there's such a huge wide range of voices, that the community is very spread out, and it's like, oh, I've heard of 3 of these.
Yeah.
As opposed to, welcome to the one-page games community. Here's the 10 you have to read and do the thing. Which you get with role-playing games.
Mm-hmm.
You made that joke, and my brain's like, "Ooh, what the 10 games you have to play?" I'm always thinking a list. I was gonna say, like, the community is a big part of it, but I also think it's a testament to like how good you are at like just knocking a setting out of the park to the point where people aren't gonna fuck with it, because like,
hey, that's very kind and a very generous way of looking at writing off a closed off set of rules.
I just finished reading. Well, not finished reading. Like not like I was by my fireplace smoking a pipe or anything. But like I was reacquainting myself with a lot of my favorite Howitt titles, and I remembered that Captain Swan Hands exist. Where
that's deranged. I don't know whether that works.
What is Captain Swan's? Yeah.
So Captain Swan Hands has this arc. Oh, sorry, it's your game. No, how they talk about it.
It's barely my game. I wrote it with Jian Shen during. I did a year of collaboration with different people, and Jian's done some really fantastic games. And most of what her games are the sort of itch-o heartbreaker, go into the woods and tell a tree that you never got on with your dad sort of thing. And so I was really interested, but she does the good ones.
Yes.
And so I was like, all right, what can we do? How can we like which one of us is going to break first? And it was her, because I turned up and I was like, I've got an idea for a game where you play superheroes and your superpower is your arms are swan heads, and you have to hold down an office job. And she's like, yeah, sure. I know a lot about birds.
That's so good.
And it's like systemically, it's deranged. It's got like it reads like a solo RPG that other people are watching you play. It's like there's animal facts we put in there to pad out. Of course. It's a 1-page game, which is an 8-page booklet. sorry, 7-page, which is a challenge because paper doesn't work that way.
Don't get me started on the numerical counting thing again.
That's insane. Swan heads is arms.
Yeah, so your two hands like, and they're swans.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
I believe the intro line to that game is fighting crime would be a lot easier if I didn't have swans for hands. which it's pretty up my alley.
Yeah, like fair.
It's so up my alley. It's selling drugs in my alley.
I need to play this now. Holy shit!
To piggyback off of what Grant was saying, though, Jian Shim is legitimately a genius. He wasn't kidding when he says she writes because there's a lot of like two flavors of lots of itch games, and it's like super emotional, deal with your demons, various levels of handedness, light to heavy, and then there's the shit Grant makes where it's like, here's the most insane thing I can think of. And Match Made in Heaven is that game is what I'll say. But I've been following Jian Shim for years, and she's legitimately a genius that makes beautiful fucking games.
Hell of a brain on her. Very clever, and it was really lovely talking to her. Like we immediately hit it off, but I'm like, I kind of want to do video. I kind of want to do voice calls and just sort of absorb how smart she is. The same with J Dragon. It's like oh no, you're what's coming next. And I'm just filling in time until you get up to speed, basically.
Actually,
look at J Dragon now. I know Wonder Home has been a smash hit.
Oh my god! And what's the bed and breakfast one?
Yaziba.
Yaziba's bed and breakfast. That one looks so freaking good.
The indie community rocks. Like it. We partner with a lot of game creators for our show, and like nothing tickles me more than when we like tag them that we're playing their game for a podcast, and they get so geeked about it because like it doesn't happen for them too terribly often. We just ran. I don't know if you know Wendy Yu, Grant. But we played her game Apotheosis Janitors recently on the show, which is a game about a group of cultists coming together to hide the evidence that their leader was once a mortal person. So it's like our the person who kept telling us was a god has recently ascended to godhood, but he had things like a mortgage and a day job and like friends in real life, and we have to figure out a way to get rid of the evidence of all that shit so no one knows he was once mortal.
It's so good.
It's such a fun game to play, and like we tagged her in it, and like she was like our biggest hype man while we were putting the show out. And it's like, to fucking support your local indie community. Wizards of the Coast will never retweet you, but Wendy Yu and Grant Howitt will.
Exactly. Which I do want to mention very quick that you have brought up your Patreon a few times, and that's where you mainly release a lot of
times. You've been mentioning this a lot, Grant.
It's fine.
We've had to edit out a lot of you shaking the tin can with the coins in it.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. No, but like you release a lot of one page stuff there, right?
Song.
Yeah. I had a break over the summer to work on Hollows. It was intended to work on Hollows, but actually what I did was I was just really depressed for 6 months, which was that's the trick.
Yeah.
So I earned less money and I was sad. But yeah, I've put out one a month for fucking years, and so now, as I said, now we're up to 80. So there's a few in there.
Bananas number.
something for everyone, I hope.
And so I am curious of, like, I know that you have a ton on your itch. Is there a lot of crossover there, or are there things in the Patreon specifically that are like exclusive? You can only get them there.
I kind of half-arse it, if I'm honest with you. I never really got the whole sort of like, and this is Patreon. This is a special place to talk to your fans. And I think like they set up a live streaming thing very briefly called Throne. And that's definitely not the relationship I have with people who buy my games.
Yeah.
So like there is an exclusive thing, which is on, I think it's like for $15 a month. So that's $15 per sheet of paper, which is very expensive as far as paper goes. I send them a physical, and it's got the back page printed on it. and there's generally like an extra game or some jokes, or it's often just jokes. One of them just a drawing of a witch I thought was
Just
cool.
fun stuff.
Just fun extra stuff from an artist you want to support.
Yeah.
And then like maybe like a couple of years after we do that, we then release them as bundles, so you can get like all like the first bundle has 13 games. The first year's bundle has 13 games in it because I really liked one of the games I wrote. I think I wrote a game in the next January, and then I'm putting that in. Fuck it. And
who's in the stop you?
And so now every bundle has 13 games.
I make my own rules.
And some of these one-page games are A4 30-page booklets.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's so good. Oh
No,
man.
I never got the I never quite worked out how to engage with the community in that way, and or like just to have this is Grant's place and come and hang out with Grant. And I think like working with Chris and with Maz and with the other people at RRD, that's Ronak and Deco, we've Oh fuck! Oh, I've completely forgot the end of my sentence. Oh no!
It's all good.
It's gone. Oh,
It happens. It's okay.
I had to remember the name of my two best friends, and that took out the end of my sentence.
And then all other words disappeared from your mind.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch yourself on camera too, as you can see the information leaving your brain as you're talking. You're like, oh my god, they're just watching me do this. And
you feel like Indiana Jones on a cliff. You're like, no. Like, come on, and the idea is just sashaying away through a side door.
Farewell.
See you later, handsome.
No, I'll see you at 2 a.m. when you're trying to sleep.
Good work smoking all that weed, dipshit. And she's gone.
Get ready to send an email the minute you wake up saying how sorry you are. I've been there on this show. Just mid-sentence, like, what the fuck am I talking about? I'll just keep going until I get back there.
And that's how the shit and fly analogies.
Yeah, it's like if you let me talk for long enough.
Yeah, you start floundering, but don't let other people realize.
This is all to say you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, cool. But I don't remember what we were talking about or anything. So we should move to the next question.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you because you were
a scant hour into this interview. Let's bash on to question 3.
This is a usual RPG Goblin situation.
No, I get it. Don't worry. You're good. What did you want to ask, Grant? Sorry.
No, I was gonna say because you turn out a one-shot or one-page game once a month, which is insane to me. Is there like an inspiration well you go down more than often?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there's this button on the internet, right? I want to push it. I get $2,500, and all I have to do is write 1 page of content, and so that motivates me to do it in usually a little under 2 weeks.
Fair. Yes. If I don't do this, I don't get to push the button. Motivation.
Hey, it's one of my favorite buttons on the internet.
It's a good button.
I could recommend that everyone gets one. They're great. But and I will also say I don't keep that money. That
fair.
That money fair. The dumb games about bears pay salaries of like our finance manager, which is really
as it should, yeah.
So it's really the pay the finance manager button.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And finance manager gets paid a lot more than me. They're much more skilled than I am, and so that's exaggeration, but I think there's a professional obligation, there's a rhythm to it, and now that there are a lot of people, I'm not going to say relying on me because I rely on them, and we've set up this business to hopefully mean that me and Chris can write games rather than run a business.
Right.
Because we had to run a business for a while, and Maz does most of the business running stuff out of the 3 of us. But what I would like to do with I've lost the end of the sentence again.
You got it. You're good.
Hang on. No,
you push the button. You want to focus on making games.
We're gonna find this. Thank you.
You got this.
Yeah, we'll get this. there is a rhythm to it, and that means that we're relying on each other. And one of the things we do to rely on each other is like the finance manager says, okay, well here are the reports and here are the things and here's how much tax we owe, and I have to make up a thing about bears.
Yeah.
And that's how that slots in.
Yeah.
Quite outside of the sort of the grim capitalist motivations,
the necessity of it. Yeah.
I have a lot of ideas for things, and like we make our bread and butter, to use your phrase, out of writing big books, because you can sell a big book for more money, you can support it with a line, you can build a community around that, and that means and if someone comes up to your stall and buys a single £2 1-page game, like that's actually costing us more money to be there than we're making off the sale.
Right.
So a con and what have you. So I'm much these give me an opportunity to release steam. And so I'll have an idea for a game, or I'll have an idea for a mechanic, or I'll have an idea for something, and it's like, well, I need to get this out of my system now, right now. Otherwise, it's going to turn. Otherwise, it's going to turn into Goats of Spire again.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let him cook.
Yeah. Well, okay. Now listen. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, everyone. Just to explain, Spire is a grim espionage revolutionary game about post-colonialism, class struggle, about you play a cell of legal ministers of a forbidden religion who are trying to overthrow the government with dark magic and like hacked together religious rituals. And I wrote an appendix in it called Rumored Goats of Spire, because I had a really good idea for some goats. I thought, oh, I could come up with some goats.
Yeah.
And so I wrote this, and I was like, "Oh, Chris, I want to put this in the garden district, the food creation district." Chris is like, "Absolutely not." Like, "Oh, can I put it in the book?" You can put it in as Appendix 5.
You can put it in the book, but it's not going to be where you want it to be.
Yeah, and like, can I get a drawing of a goat? Can you fuck? And we printed it, and everyone fell for the goats. Everyone loved the goats.
Of course,
it was the equivalent of when you
love stupid shit.
People love dumb shit.
They do.
But it's like, oh, Spire, the RPG about goats. It's like, no.
They're just in it.
No, it's about post-colonial Haiti.
It's not about deep shit.
It's not about goats. So I need to work through. I need to act as a pressure release for these dumb ideas, and so that's really cool.
Yeah.
And that means that I can find something that interests me and obsess about it, and basically rotate it in my head till it catches fire, for a bit. And some weeks, some months it's easy. Some months it isn't. Like I just put out a game called Executioners, which is a game where you have to delete the game text as you play to win.
Love it.
Like you play a word wizard.
Yeah.
And that was initially Space Doctors: Doctors in Space, which is Grey's Anatomy, but you're aliens.
Yes.
And I think I spent 2 weeks bouncing off that thing and turning up to meetings being like, lads, I can't get these fucking doctors to work. It's not like the dramatic arc's not right. It's just a numbers game. And so
this is an actual plot of Grey's Anatomy, I think.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah.
And so I threw it out. I'm like, right, I'm gonna make a game where you have to murder Fae in nightclubs. Like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, that's interesting. So throw that around. It's like, no, and then eventually, at the last minute, stumbled out with Executioners, which I started writing in November. So it's not a quick process. But it's really nice to have the opportunity to sit down and do something weird, and also take the time to craft it.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that there's that button which makes $2,500 come out the internet means that I do take it a little bit more seriously. But also, I try to take everything I do with a you know what, this is going to sound weird. I try to take everything I do seriously.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And what I'm doing is silly, and what we're doing is daft. But there is a measure of like, well, it has to work as a game, and it has to be explainable within a sentence, and it has to resonate with people in such a way that they'll pick up on it. And so there are other considerations, and I think that it keeps my hand in, certainly. But it's I think pretty sure I ran out of ideas about 2 years in.
Yeah.
and so I'm just having to really open my brain to the zeitgeist and find it. But yeah, I peaked 4 months in, useless.
And you just keep trucking regardless.
Just been dragging this bear corpse around.
You guys want to play Honey Heist?
Hey, no, it's me, that Grant Howitt.
You don't know who I am.
I mean, it's fucking fascinating because I'll go to cons and people and it's always well, it's not always because most people don't know who the fuck I am, but people come up to people come up and like they'll say, oh, Spire, that sounds interesting. Like, oh, hang on, criminal Honey Heist. Are you Grant Howitt? And they always say the full name. Oh my god, are you Grant Howitt? I don't know what that accent was. Was that Australian? Strafe, mate. Are you Grant Howitt? Throw a D12 on the Barbie, but it's very strange to be clocked in that way because like I don't. It's the RPG industry. No one knows who the fuck anyone is.
Yeah,
it's a complete inside baseball,
Mm-hmm.
and no one knows what anyone looks like.
Yeah.
Like the fact that me and you, Grant, are chatting about Jion Shim. Like Jion Shim is one of the greatest voices in our industry and an absolute trailblazer. Really clever, doing fascinating things. No one knows who the fuck she is.
Yeah, and I think that's just like the nature of the beast of the TTRPG industry too, or like any game really, like any. Like movies and music, like it's all about who made it, but with like games, it's all about like, is it fun?
Yeah.
and you think of like how far the creator's role is from the experience of a game. Mm-hmm. So like you've got Denis Villeneuve getting angsty about people watching Dune on their telly.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Fuck off, Dennis. We're in a pandemic, but I watched it on my TV. It was nice. It was fine.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't have my shoes on. I couldn't do that at the cinema. Point being, Villeneuve gets all pissed off about the way people are like David Lynch, like watch a film on your fucking phones.
Yeah. And I work.
I'm not. I mean, hey, listen, I'm sure David's doing a lot of work, but part of that involves watching films on big screens. That's his job.
Yeah. Or like when Chris Nolan is like, we're only releasing Oppenheimer in these kinds of theaters so that when the bomb goes off, your skin melts. And it's like, fuck you.
It vibrates through your entire body.
Out of spite, I'll watch it on my phone.
I'm gonna have someone describe this to me. Sorry, and actually, it was a flippant joke, but that's how games work.
Yeah.
In the I've come up with the idea of Spire. Let's say, we describe it as big moody setting, and then we put the rules on top of that, and then the end experience, the player experience, which I think like there's more players than there are GMs. So let's say that's the more common experience, is filtered through the rules, the GM, how the GM was feeling that day, the GM's understanding of my of both mechanical and fiction, and also everyone else at the table and what they were doing and what they put forward. And so we really have very little say in what happens and whether or not it's very easy to write a bad game. But one of the things about like a good game is that you don't notice it being good. And if it's really exciting and it's really sort of gathering you up, if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, you shouldn't see the joins unless you're an absolute dork and maybe like you guest on or run a RPG podcast. And so you're into this like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I love what they did with the D3s there. This reminds me of Vincent D. Baker's earlier work.
Hold up, D3s? I need to get me one of those.
Same. I want one.
Just a D6 in half.
I know, but it would be cool to have a special die.
It's a two-dimensional triangle, and you spin it like a fidget spinner.
I don't get in with this fucking dice fetishism bullshit.
No, me neither.
I'm about like back when I worked in an office, I wasn't excited about the photocopier. It's just something I had to use. And that's kind of where I'm at with dice.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I was asked in an interview recently, like, if I could be any kind of dice, what would I be?
Now that's a question.
Yeah, but see, because I am who I am as a person, I didn't pick like one that exists. I want to be like a physical D100. and like it looks like a golf ball.
Yeah, you're
you
just
know?
smooth.
Like each individual divot has like a number in
I
it.
want to be a 1-to-1 scale D100. I want to write all the numbers across
Yes.
my body and roll around.
None of this roll 2 d10s and do percentage
No,
shit. You pull out like a fucking
no.
sphere and roll it.
Yeah, that's the proper
You
way.
throw
to
me on the table and I'll tell
Yeah.
you what you got.
You have to whack me with a golf club, and then wherever I land on the green is the number that comes up.
Well, what kind of dice would you be? And bonus points if you say one that exists.
Bonus points if I say. Well, I would like to just be a D2, which most people think is just useless.
Isn't that a coin?
Yeah, it's a fucking coin.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I used to make dice, actually. I used to make dice and sell them. So I get the whole dice thing. I have plenty of dice.
Yes. Sorry, I don't wish for anyone else to be like, I really don't want you to be like, I shouldn't mention the fact I like dice now that Grant said I was an idiot for liking dice. No, like
you didn't say that.
I was thinking it. No, they're very pretty things, and I think that one of the few tools we have to connect with role-playing games is our dice. And it's like, well, these are the most important objects in the fictional world we're building. Sure. And this is your lever for interacting with the game. So yeah, might as well have nice ones.
Yeah, but at least for me, like going from like dice to like I was only playing D&D, and then like I definitely had a dice obsession, and then getting into TTRPGs, I'm like, it doesn't matter what I have for dice. It doesn't matter. I just love the games. I read the actual TTRPG books for fun. That's
Willow's
fun.
the reader.
Yeah, I'm the one who
Willow,
reads
you're our biggest and most important market.
Yeah, actually,
big dorks.
Doesn't matter if you play them.
I have die right here.
Very good. I
finished...
see you've got the Zone behind you as well.
I have the Zone. Zone's fantastic. I can't wait.
That's a good game.
I know. I can't wait to play it.
That's clever.
I'm so mad that I have no like in-person friends that will like play it with me.
All right, Grant, we gotta go to wherever Willow is and just hang out for like a weekend.
Speaking from experience, you'll get used to it.
I have a whole bunch of like, so I grew up doing like all the like theater stuff in my hometown. So like a lot of the people that I play in person with are just like actors who I've told to just come to my house. Like, you're just gonna act with me for a little bit, and there's like an element of chance to it, and they get into it. You know, like just if you want someone to play with, like just go to your local community theater.
I've got a little experiment coming up. We're putting together a black box. We're gonna try a few things.
Yeah.
Really avant-garde shit. You'll love it.
Have you got a director for this? You're like,
It's me. You know me.
Yeah.
Tell me how you kiss the elf.
Yeah, we did a mini series on our show, and it's like the whole it's like me and my sister who normally handle the whole podcast stuff, and then it's like literally like my friend who does a lot of local theater here, and my friend who's a comedian. And it was their first time playing a D&D campaign ever, and they were just fucking hilarious on it. It also helps I have no idea how to run D&D. I just go by vibe.
No one runs it right. It's not supposed to be run right. The fun is ignoring the rules. That's the...
Yeah.
You feel a bit cheeky. Like,
yeah.
I'm being illegal.
My main point here, though, is if you want friends to play with, just go audition or do a show with your local community theater, and then you'll just find a whole bunch of dorks.
Or apparently take up improv classes. I've heard that.
I still have. I wake up. You know how like you'll say something hideous, and like you'll wake up 7-10 years afterwards. Like, I still flash back. I'm going to say once every couple of months to the Facebook post I made inviting everyone I knew to my graduation show at first year improv. And I would like to really thank all my friends because not a single one of them came.
Wow.
And they were smart for not doing that because it was a shit show. It was first year graduation.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was unwatchable.
Improv doers out there, never invite anyone to your first time performing it live for any reason.
On your 10th time, look, unless you're fucking bench forts, don't. Hey, it's fine.
Don't invite people to it, honestly.
But I will say, from a player perspective, crucial.
Oh yeah.
Well, crucial. Obviously, people can do it without. But it's really useful to have the idea of like, no, like there's a story here, and we'll find it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we're all going to put things in together, and we're all going to build stuff, which is kind of what I try to ski to with the one
Yeah.
page stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything's vague, and we trust you to fill in the details. And I learned a great deal about that from doing improv classes,
Mhm.
and I made
100%.
again no friends.
Who needs them?
Who
I'm gonna
needs
Friends
them?
get in the way.
I'm gonna open my window because I'm gonna smoke a cigarette.
You're good.
Carry on talking.
Just keep going.
Yeah. Improv, right?
Fill in.
Okay, I need a location. Anyone, any location.
Nashville.
Submarine!
Damn it, not that one.
That was the wrong answer. No.
This is off topic, but I went to a Wayne Brady show one time, and he was looking for that exact thing, wanted a setting.
Mhm.
So from like the cheap seats, I stood up. I'm like 22. I stand up and I scream as loud as I can, "Mausoleum!" And he like looked into the rafters and saw me. He's like, "No one has ever said mausoleum at this thing. I'm doing that." I was like, cool.
Not funeral, like a funeral contractor. Perfect.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Reads
much comedy
like a Harold
potential.
Pinter play. But no, a place where expressly everyone is dead.
Right, yes. Nothing else to riff off of.
You
Featureless white room.
You created a core memory for him.
Yeah, it was
In
a
that
core
moment.
memory for me, you know? That's exactly how you design and run one-shots too, by the way. You just scream something as loud as you can and see what happens. You're a fly. Anyway.
Yeah, you're a fly. You're a fly. Start being a fly. Like, just do it. Yeah, no.
Not to like circle back to 2 conversations ago, but I was listening to Grant talk about the motivation of like money and deadlines as a big source of creative inspiration. Holy shit, felt that in my heart, soul, and ass. Like, my God.
It's so much easier to create when you're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And there's this real myth of like, oh, you've sold out. And you can sell out, and there's ways that you can do things, but there's a myth of the starving artist, and like, oh well, you need to be a bit mad, and you need to be a bit starving to create absolute beauty. It's like you need a bit of grit, you need some badness in your life to write about, but it's like I've lived with depression for the last 27 years, and it's never helped me write anything, but I've written about it a lot.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think that's the like being able to support people and to do this as a living really gives you a firm base to operate from.
Yeah. And finding this is a weird way to phrase it, I'll admit, like finding the fun in the things that have historically hurt you is kind of like creatively satisfying. I'm working on something for the show. We do like 2 miniseries a year, and I'm pulling a lot of inspiration from like my religious trauma growing up.
Yeah.
Which religion?
Mormonism.
Oh,
Hey,
fun one.
surprise.
That's a doozy.
That's a doozy.
That's
Oh,
one of the
boy.
good ones.
What a good trauma religion.
Yeah, and I don't mean good like morally right.
No, yeah, like
Yeah.
one of
Texturally rich.
yeah, like it's a bigger one, but it's still a little indie. It's not like
Yeah,
Catholicism.
yeah.
Everyone else can. Like
Ironically, it's the Beck of
Mormonism is the
religions.
Honey Heist of religion, if we're being real.
I love that.
Willow, if you clip that, I swear to God.
But it's so good.
No, but I gotta say, like,
Oh god.
I as a person who likes to write from like places of pain, I guess it's a real easy well to go down to when you're in desperation mode, and finding the stuff that is like relatable to you personally is really cool and a lot of fun to do. So like a lot of people write games, Grant and myself included, about like their mental health struggles, their childhood struggles, anything, and to turn shit like that into, in my case, a game about rabbits dealing with faith, or like putting goats in Spire, or
Like the rabbits about faith is an interesting point because you've got to keep it at arm's length.
Yeah.
And it's like any game which is actually about depression, any game which accurately recreates the feelings of depression is a horrible game to play, and no one should play it. And
Right.
and it always comes across as preachy isn't the right word, but it never lands. It's too on the nose. And I think that if you put an elf in it, you put a rabbit in it, like
Make it a bit
fundamentally,
weird.
what all of my dumb games are about misbehaving.
Mhm.
Yeah,
and
that's
and
true.
like generally, like, you are agents of chaos in a structured world,
Mhm.
and you are going to misbehave for personal gain, and people don't want you to do that, and that's kind of how it feels being an artist a lot of the time.
I mean, yes. The more Grant talks, the more I'm like, I pulled a lot of my philosophy from reading this guy's games. You say stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, I do that. I love chaos in a structured world. We just did sock goblins, and that's exactly that. It's goblins stealing socks from people in a
Mm.
game, and I'm like, yeah, that's exactly right.
It's the only game that matters. I love that.
It's up there. I like that one a lot. Poor students, if you're out there, bang your game, kids. Bang your fucking game. But no, like it's a lot of indie creators and a lot of big name creators, if we're being real, like everyone does this, where it's like, I'm making an X, but it's really about Y. And there's a lot of ways to do that good, and a lot of ways to do it like way too heavy handed.
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many like free itch games I've downloaded. It was like, this game is going to be about depression or bipolar or whatever, and like it's like a lot of like one sentence like lines that are meant to jab at you, and it's like,
Mm.
I've read 50 of these for
Mm.
sure. Like there's
Yeah.
definitely an art form to it.
Yeah. Which I mean is like that's the point of the designers, to make it art and make it
Mm.
something that isn't just preachy. I mean, not preachy, but
Yeah.
exactly. No.
Preachy heavy like, there's a place for it for sure, like it has
Yeah.
their place. The stuff I'm drawn to is like when it's, I guess, not like a subtext per se.
Like, it evokes, right? It resonates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
better word for it. Yeah.
That's what I think that's what we aim for, especially in a medium which is as hands off as game design.
Mhm.
You have to get stuff which, like, a lot of the stuff we do for research and world building will take real world things and
Yeah.
change the names a bit, and
Mhm.
that's and like because it's easy, and also
And
that
fun
means
too.
and fun. And free. Wikipedia is free. And
you can just put words together, just smush them.
but if it feels real enough to hang together, or if it feels impactful enough to talk to people,
Mhm.
then that's more powerful than it being accurate.
Mhm.
I think.
And on the nose too.
Yeah. It's even fun like when you don't intend to write something like that, and it turns
Oh my God.
into like something that meant a lot to someone because they were going through it and saw that in there. And it's like, oh yeah, well then that's in there for you.
All right. Well, I am actually really a bit to questions.
Hang on, so you're actually really a bit to questions.
Actually, really bit to questions. Yeah. Sorry, my
Oh,
brain.
I didn't want to say anything, Willow, but I thought you were
We-
becoming actually a bit towards questions.
We
Yeah,
cooked
yeah.
her.
Yeah, my brain's a little fried today, so I apologize for that. But
You're good.
You're doing very well. You're rolling well with the punches that Grant and I are putting down by
And we
refusing
love
to talk
to
about,
punch.
Oh yeah.
by
okay.
refusing to answer the questions.
I'm just observing a wrestling match here and just.
I wouldn't say we're wrestling.
No, not wrestling. More.
We're dancing, baby.
Sport.
Yeah, dancing.
Dancing.
There you go.
I love that.
Just two idiots in a room having an excuse to share a philosophy together while Willow watches in horror as we don't
Honestly,
shut up.
Well, this is what I wanted. It wasn't.
It's true. It's true.
It was more space for you guys to talk more than anything.
Willow arranged a blind date for us, Grant.
Yeah. So how's it going so far? Are you liking each other?
I don't know if he likes me. I'm really nervous. He's so cute.
It wasn't not blind enough for me. I know too much about Grant.
He told me he has religious trauma, like out the gate.
Yeah, just like
Too open.
yeah.
Moving
I
too
don't, I
fast.
don't even know what he does for a living.
And that's by design.
Give us a question, Waller. Give us a question.
Give us a question. Well, I am curious for specifically outside of, Honey Heist being played on Critical Role. That's pretty goddamn cool. What is, though, the coolest thing outside of that has happened to you in the TTRPG space?
Easy.
Yes.
Great question. The second coolest thing that's ever happened to me is when I was too scared to talk to Greg Stoltze at the first Gen Con I went to.
Oh.
It was like Spire hadn't really landed yet. I hadn't made my name as a designer.
Mhm.
Greg Stolze has written, so he was one half of Unknown Armies. It was him and Scott Tynes who wrote it.
Oh.
And I don't think any game's been more influential on my work and
Mhm.
on what I think is cool. So I was too nervous to talk to him. That was the second coolest thing. But the first coolest thing is I got a message. I got a message. Oh, about 3 years ago. I got a message from 2 years ago from an old folks home in America, and they were doing like activity days and like game days for the residents who lived there, and they had run 6 tables of Honey Heist and got hats for everyone.
Oh, yes, it's so cool.
And so, and I didn't buy the hats. I don't look after the old people. I didn't wash their bottoms or any of that stuff. But I had some small part in these people who'd never roleplayed before in their lives put on a hat and being like, "Well, I'm a criminal bear," and that's delightful.
That's
That rocks.
amazing.
That's what I want. That's what I want to do.
That's it, man.
That's why I get up in the morning. So yeah, that was pretty swish, I gotta say.
Nothing
And,
feels
like,
better than someone telling you
Yeah.
how much they appreciated what you did making someone's day.
I know.
Absolutely, and using it in a way I hadn't thought of, or like using it to bring people together, and especially like you hear about like because my games are quite short,
Mhm.
you hear like a lot of they get run at schools, and like a lot of like kid groups play them. I know that like there was a class in an American school ran Everyone is Seagulls, which
I
is
love
it's
Everyone in Seagulls is great.
it's a deranged game where
It
the main mechanic is
is.
yelling as loud as you can
I love it.
and making a noise like a seagull, and apparently, 16 kids all playing Everyone is Seagulls.
As
If
it
you're
should
gonna
be
play
played.
it, if you're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
play it with a group of people, that is
Yeah.
the market for sure.
It needs to be
Yeah.
like out in the playground or something, like where everyone can go.
No, big amphitheater, like one of those
Oh,
medical
yeah.
theaters where everything echoes.
You will not come out of that with your hearing intact.
and I've met some people whose games I really like, and again at that first Gen Con, we got invited to the fancy party. We got invited to the secret party, which I didn't know about. But the organizer of Gen Con runs a room party on the Saturday night, and we went along, and I didn't know anyone in the room because they were all high tier American game designers.
Wow.
And so I'm standing there next to the boxed wine, which I insisted they opened. I'm standing there next to the boxed wine, necking room temperature white, and I'm talking to this guy in a fucking cape. Dude's turned up. Dude's turned up in a red velvet cape with an ermine lining. And like I was making a joke about how like, oh, no one here's ever heard of my games, oh, like, oh, you don't know about Spire, do you know about Honey Heist? No, that's quite popular. No, I never heard that one. Oh, what have you written, mate? Dungeons and Dragons or something? He said, no, I write Pathfinder.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, oh, cool. Well, I've ruined this.
Yeah.
Goodbye. And I chain smoked outside until it was time to leave.
I've got to go now.
Yeah, so no, I don't
So that's top 3 experience then.
I will also say, so last year at Gen Con, we went all out. We got everyone from the company. We all flew out and we shared a house in not a great neighborhood in Indianapolis. Just
there's so few great ones.
Yeah, and this one was proper fucking sketchy. But we shared a house, and on the Saturday night, I didn't get to go. I wasn't invited to the secret room party, but we took over this place called West Fork Whiskey Bar. And the great thing about West Fork Whiskey Bar is it's a 20-minute drive from the convention center, so no motherfucker would ever go there. And so we took it over, and we had all of the GMs who were running games for us, and all of the people who were working on our stall, and all the members of the team, and people who we liked from the industry. We brought everyone along, and we had pizza and drank whiskey, and it was really like, oh, we put this together.
Yeah.
And I'm here with my friends, and I'm the other side of the world, and that was really exciting. And we can't afford to do it ever again.
But you got the one in. That's the important part.
It at least happened one thing that I actually really wanted to ask with having you
Mm.
on is I want to know some of your favorite TTRPGs personally, ones that you love to run, love to play, all of that. I want to hear them all, please.
I don't get to run and play as much as I used to,
Mhm.
because it's what I do all day, every day.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so, like in the evening, I want to build toy soldiers, and smoke marijuana. And during the day,
Priorities.
I have to like have proper grown up thoughts about role playing games. So like the prospect of being, yeah, you know, like a real job. The prospect of being in character for 4 hours is often quite exhausting.
Mhm.
But obviously, I've played a lot of games,
Mhm.
and I've got a broad history. So the games which are really important to me are, see if I can remember, Dogs in the Vineyard, which was Dee Vincent Baker's kind of the first thing which he put out properly.
Ooh.
It's off sale now, and the reason why it's off sale is its problematic religious beliefs. Because
Oh.
you play, it's a brilliant pitch for a game. You play teenage virgin Mormon missionaries, who are also law
Grant's like-
keepers.
Sorry, I
It's-
went
yeah,
Vietnam
it's-
mode there for a
Yeah,
second.
it's like it's set in the Old West, and broadly you ride on your horse between these communities, and each community is riven with sin in some way, and then it's up to you to how you excise the sin from the town. And like, are you kind? Are you punishing? Do you try and reincorporate lost sheep, or do you execute them in the street?
Oh my.
And so it's hugely intense to play. It's exhausting,
Mhm.
and the mechanics, like the mechanics, are absolutely inspiring. In that, it's basically poker played with dice, and you're making pairs and
Ooh.
triples and matching them. But you can always add more dice by getting more violent. So you start talking, and you're like, oh, I want to persuade this guy to tell me where his son is, because his son's been mutilating sheep
Mhm.
or something. And I roll and I fail. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna get my fist dice into this and beat it out of him, and you get to grab that. And so the only the other fallout of that is like the more violence you bring in, the more violence you will be susceptible to.
Yeah.
And like then the absolute technique is pulling a revolver, and everyone gets to describe their revolver and do the thing, and you have these really tense shootouts. There's a lot of PvP. There's a lot of like theological disagreements. It's absolutely exhausting, but it's a fascinating game. And yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. Vincent pulled it because of the Mormon stuff.
Mhm.
I don't blame him, but
Yeah.
it's a powerful thing.
Good call.
Yeah, that's
What
intense.
It's not cool, but I'm quite fond of Fifth Ed. I quite like Dungeons and Dragons. I
Mhm.
think
Yeah.
that it's the McDonald's of food, but sometimes McDonald's of food, and McDonald's the McDonald's of food.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could eat
truly the
D&D.
champagne of wines.
Yeah.
I really enjoy how you say, "Oh, do you want to play Dungeons and Dragons?" Yeah, I know what that is. Cool. And I come along,
Yeah.
and you ignore the rules, and you use the systems to tell a story. You use the setting to tell a story.
Yeah.
And I've had tremendous fun with people who haven't done a lot of role playing before.
Mhm.
But like generally, like what I'd do is we'd set them up, and they'd be like, we'd set it in school. So like it would be like you go to the school for adventurers, and it's your final year
Yeah,
project. You have to go on an adventure.
I love it.
And so everyone's like, and there's a genre of British fiction, which I don't know how big it is in the US, but called like the Fantastic Five. Like it is a writer called Enid Blyton, and Enid Blyton did all these stories almost 100 years ago now, where there are various posh boys and girls, and it's girls, not girls, and they go and solve a mystery of some kind.
Okay.
And there's generally a dog called Smudger, or something along those lines, and they have iced buns and lashings of ginger beer. And so like we just take that and run D&D in it, and that was tremendously fun.
Yeah. That's why everyone loves 5th edition. It's infinitely flexible, and it can be whatever you want, and all the rules are take what you want and run with it, you know?
I'm also going to say I really like 4th Ed, and
Yeah.
I think that like it's a beautiful game system. It's far better at doing fights than any other
I've
edition
heard
of D&D.
that. Yeah.
Oh, it's tremendous, but unfortunately they didn't put any role playing in it.
Yeah.
They skipped out
Yeah.
on the role playing and
Yeah.
my role playing.
The evolution of D&D is going from like doing combat and then going to role playing because of the shifting tides.
I really like the mecha hack, which is itself a hack of the black hack. I think the black hack's a really clever system. It's a D20 roll under system,
I love roll
which
Mm.
was,
unders.
and it was the first one I ever saw.
Yeah.
And I thought I was really impressed with that. So I've run a bit of black hack and mutant hack, and I ran a wee campaign of mecha hack for a while. And I think that system is I really enjoy it for. Let's have a quick game.
Yeah.
It's like everything's there and it's ready, and there's few choices for players to make aside from in the moment.
Mhm.
So that's really cool. Also, honorable mentions: anything Chris McDowell writes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the guy who did Into the Odd. He did
Yeah.
Electric Bastion Land,
Yeah.
and he's done Mythic Bastion Land. And Mythic Bastion Land is so good as to be insulting to every other designer on the market. It's so fucking clever. He's put feelings in OSR and it works. It's amazing. So yeah,
Into the
anything
Odd is
Crystal.
so fucking good. I love Into the Odd.
It is an
Dumb
Electric
good.
Bastion
Dumb
land.
good.
Oh my god.
100
Yeah.
classes.
100 classes, and that's what most of the book even is.
Yeah, I mean, like if you
They're all
get your
good.
rocks off to creating characters Into the
Oh.
Odd, like wow.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
If you thought Baldur's Gate 3 was hard to make a character in,
Oh my god.
struck a chord.
I also want to chip in on Sleepaway from
Ooh,
J
I've
Dragon.
heard of Sleepaway, yeah.
Which is like Wanderhome and Yaziba are obviously incredibly clever,
Mhm.
and I think that like Wanderhome was the bit where Belonging Outside Belonging as a dice format really found its feet.
Ooh.
Because Avery McDowell, no, I think it's McDowell, no, shit. Avery Alder invented it, and there was like this sort of brisk zine which she put out, and then Jay was like, well, what if we made it into an actual big game?
Mhm.
And so Wanderhome's really good for that, but I find that Wanderhome and Yaziba, I don't have the conflict I'm after, and Sleepaway is really, really cool because you play a bunch of queer teens at summer camp, and all the adults die, and something's trying to kill you.
Naturally,
And it's a fascinating way of doing horror, but also like showing how characters grow up and showing how people interact with each other in a separate situation. I think that's really cool. I like Bite Marks by Becky Anderson. So the Black Armada Games is the company. So it's Becky and her husband Josh write games. They did Lovecraft-esque, which you might have heard of.
Yes. Okay.
And a few other things, but Bite Marks it's an Apocalypse World game. I don't normally go in for those, but Becky came up with this absolutely genius way of getting around the fact that combat's kind of boring in Apocalypse World, which is you have a werewolf pack, and you pick up like stress points on the pack, and your pack gets stressed the more, like if you have arguments, if you make out with each other, if you like basically when you have strong feelings at one another, and there's some quite nice moves for it, you charge up this pack score, and then once you have 15 of it, you can spend it to defeat any obstacle you like.
That's cool. Bite Marks?
Yeah. And it's a game about werewolves as well, is the other thing.
Yeah.
And
I knew
so,
about
like,
Black Armada because of Flotsam, is I think
Yes.
the game that they made that I have of theirs.
But and that's a brief sort of sojourn around what I find interesting. But like,
Yeah.
I always think like it's really interesting to see when a creator has a voice and when they put that voice into their games, and when you can see like or like this is what they care about, and this is what's interesting to them. And like much like you, Willow, I don't play a lot of games. I buy games and I read them and I consume them. And generally, like Chris, my business partner Chris, he really likes buying games. He really likes owning games, and he has like a company. There's a budget set aside for Chris, and so I just sort of a lot of it just filters down to me eventually. And so it was Chris who picked up the Zone.
Yeah.
And just like in terms of like game design, it's very nice. It's basically for the Queen, but with some more rules in. But like as far as the experience of opening the box goes, and all the art and how rich it is, and how spooky and immediately interesting it is, very impressed.
It just picks you up, like it just stands out immediately. And I actually I got it, so I backed like the backer kit, which one it was, Kickstarter backer kit.
You supported it.
I supported it, exactly.
Crowdfunded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I supported it, and then we're like in the process of like moving and trying to sell our house, and so I had everything get sent up to my brother, and he got it like a few months ago, and I'm like, okay, you are coming down for Christmas, and I need you to bring the zone down for me. I don't think you understand. I've waited a year to open this game. I require it, and luckily he did. But no, it's beautiful, and I love the fact that they went with the holographic cards too, because I think it just ups the
really classy.
Yeah, and then like it's a beautiful experience opening, and the fact that like you're supposed to play it in a dark room with like glow sticks.
Yeah,
it's so
a bit of theatre, right?
Yeah,
spot.
That's why
the old razzle dazzle.
That's why I like 10 candles too. Even like just that physical element of having all the candles lit. Yeah. Like that's what pains me that I don't have people in person, because I love those games. I love those physical elements to games. And it's so hard to emulate online.
Back in uni, which is what we call college. Back in uni,
I've watched Doctor Who.
I know where to cycle.
I've watched my fair share.
A guy in our game society, he ran a Silent Hill game using World of Darkness.
Smart.
So it was WoD Mortals back in the day, and the rules were that when you came into the room, all the lights were off, and you used a torch. And he deliberately bought the worst torches that he could find, and then left them on so the batteries ran out.
Oh my god! It's like in Silent Hill.
So we're sitting there trying to read our fucking World of Darkness character sheets by flickering torchlight, and then he gave us in the second session an AM radio, and he illegally purchased an AM radio broadcaster in his laptop, which meant that whenever we got near to monsters, he just turned up the volume, and it has a thing. And eventually, session 5, we just turned the radio off. Yeah, it was really scary.
That is the best.
The commitment to a concept.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's incredible.
And I don't have that. I don't have that level of commitment to my hobby time. I don't think, or like to my social time in that way. I'll certainly spend a lot of time making a toy soldier or something. But one thing which we're trying to do in our convention games is we realize that. So one of our rules is we pay every GM, because a lot of places don't, or they'll give them free books or whatever, and they are doing the job for you. It's tacky. And then we realized that if we want to run enough games to make an impact, we couldn't afford to pay all of our GMs. And then we'll run fewer games, or we'll make the games we're running bigger. And so at Gen Con, we've got 6 multi-table simultaneous games happening, where so I'm planning on doing like a time-traveling Honey Heist game, where there's 6 tables running all at the same time. We've got like a game of Orc Borg, which is a Mork Borg hack I wrote, but you play Space Orcs from Warhammer.
Love it.
And but we're crossing it with Crash Pandas, so you're all steering the same spaceship.
Of course.
We want to try and do like with the candles, like with the glow sticks, we want to try and get a bit of the atmosphere, a bit of the showmanship back into it. And I think like if we're at Gen Con and people are paying $10 a ticket or $5 a ticket or however much, that means that we can afford to we'll make sure that we'll spend the time and the effort briefing our GMs and writing a good scenario and hiring the best people to do this, and we'll get the props and we'll do the thing and we'll make sure and we'll build the environment. And I think like it's I grew up doing before I was a games designer and before I was a games journalist, I used to do immersive games. I used to do like live games quite often. Like we used to do a game called Zombie LARP, which was in an abandoned shopping mall in Reading.
That's so cool. Holy shit.
Yeah, we had 120 players, and on 4 rounds, and for 1 round you were a person, and every other round you were a zombie, and you had to try and get out. And it was all Nerf. I've still got the fire axe back there. You can see.
Oh hell yeah!
That's so cool.
It was all Nerf, no calls.
Yeah.
Like no, like, oh, I've been hit twice in the arm. Let me note this down. Everything did 1 damage. Shut up. Play the game.
We're streamlining this.
and we used to do me and Maz ran a game over a decade ago now in Melbourne in the city centre, back when we lived in Australia, and it was called Spirits Walk. And so people went around the city centre down alleyways and found masked weirdos dressed up as spirits of the city, and we got them to commit social transgressions. So so they found the stepping girl, and the stepping girl had like a disco ball mask and a disco ball dress, and she gave you an MP3 player with two headphones, and so like the deal is you had to put you had to find a partner, useful if they were playing the game but not required. Put one earbud in each, and then dance according to the instructions you were given. And we gave people different instructions, which made it seem like one of them was falling for the other, and the other one wasn't into it, and fuckery I wouldn't pull now. But there's something about like, right, this is happening right now.
Yeah.
And every game we play is right, this is something happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And how high can we push that? It's kind of exciting thing to think about.
I adore that.
That's so good.
So cool.
Man, my brain is cooking right now.
I know.
That's so good.
It's like
that was the most involved one. That was like
but
there was a lot of goofy shit which I haven't mentioned.
I love the theater of it. I love I think if you're gonna do live games like that, like even if like you do a podcast and you host a live version of your show like in a theater or something, like do something goofy to bring the audience and have them be part of it.
It's the idea of, I mean, and this is strictly for immersive theater, but I suppose it's part of live streaming as well if you've got that audience. But being able to set it in Melbourne and have people go like, well, they've walked past the street to work every single day, and tonight there are 12 couples dancing in the street while a disco ball lunatic spins and yells. And all of them are going to have an awkward social situation while this is happening.
Gonna get to where you see that out there? What the fuck was?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, like first night we ran it, we got a lot of people like fucking with us.
Yeah.
Because
of course,
because it was open, it was and because the people who were running it weren't quite sure of the level of how much they could just be, oh, fuck off.
Sure.
And so there's a measure of like engaging with the crowd rather than like, no, we're doing something weird and you can watch.
Yeah.
As opposed to this is a game for you to play, and that's kind of a.
Was this like just a thing that like they just decided to do? Was this part of like an event club type?
Oh yeah.
Thing?
It was it was an organisation in Australia called Pop-Up Playground.
Okay.
It was Sarah Lothian and Rob. Oh, I forget his name. Bugger. But they ran live games, and they happened to be at a game which we ran in Bristol. And then they really liked it. They interviewed us briefly for a documentary they were making, and then we moved to Australia. And it just so turned out the day we were landing, they were in Sydney, despite living in Melbourne, and they were doing like a presentation at a local university.
Yeah.
So I think I'd been awake for like 2 weeks at this point. And I stagger in and like, hello there. I'm really interested in playing and learning about live games now. And somehow could you pat me gently until I stop kicking?
I need a pillow and a warm milk, please.
And when we are, I was about to say we're getting off topic. The topic is games, but I think I'm really excited to see how we can, like with 12 Candles, like with Dread, like with these games which have a centerpiece and which have artifice to them. And how rite and ritual. You referenced Die earlier. Like Die has an awful lot of the ritual around it, and like we keep saying this is important. Do it. And if you do those things and go through those steps, then the game resonates better.
Yeah.
And like we had to get in special. Like we had to come up with new special safety tools for Die because it's such a bleedy game. Like it's a dangerous game to run. In the for the listener, in Die you play an ordinary person who makes a role-playing game character and then gets sucked into the world of the role-playing game.
So cool.
And the role-playing game is made out of all their traumas and fears. And so,
as all great ones are.
Yeah.
And it's this absolutely like cathartic, heartbreaking experience to take part in. So we had to be super fucking careful about like giving that to people to make sure they could do it safely.
Yeah.
But we tried to put in safety tools. We tried to be like, we want people to be able to play as hard as they can and then pull back rather than get upset. I ran a game of Honey Heist at university. At a university.
Yeah, Honey Heist University.
I thought there's like a spin-off game I didn't know about.
Honey Heist U.
That'd be so good.
I ran a game of Honey Heist, and I asked people for their lines and veils beforehand, which is a tool like where, and again, I know you're both nodding, but for your audience,
Yes.
it's a tool where you say, "Oh, I'm okay with this being alluded to in the game, but I don't want to see it, and I don't want any of this in the game at all."
Yes.
And so this is Honey Heist. Bear in mind, and so one of the players said, "Oh, I really don't like bees."
Oh.
I was like, okay. What's the problem with bees? Oh, it's if they're swarming, if there's more than one bee. Okay, well, there's only ever going to be one bee in this game. Is there anything else you want me to take out of the game? And they were like, well, yeah, I don't like it when cars aren't where cars should be. It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to make you the driver, and that's up to you.
Okay. You can control the car.
Yeah.
I think eventually, like, they ended up getting. I think they got a Zamboni because it didn't count as a car, and that was okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, like, we're laughing, and it's a funny solution, but it's like, kudos on you for, like, instead of just removing cars from the fucking game or something, or like,
it's one
like, okay, they're all
parked the character
properly.
Classes.
Yeah.
Like as you said, Willow, the fun part is where a bear drive car.
Yeah. When bear drive car and
bear drive car. Bear don't drive car.
That's not where a car should be.
That's not where car shouldn't be around bear.
I'm glad that they didn't count Zamboni as a car, because there's only one place a Zamboni should be.
Yeah, this is true.
Oh my God. I think they used a lot of rickshaws. And it's car adjacent trains, car adjacent transports, which they drove. But like, I think there's like there's a school of thought, especially around the old guard, that you shouldn't take care of people at your table, and and they'll work it out. And like, if you've been playing with the same people for 20 years, sure, you're doing it. Yeah. You're doing it already, and you're not aware that that's what you're doing.
You already have those systems in place and conversations already had. Yeah.
Like or don't mention that, he gets upset. That's as opposed to, hey there, what don't you want in this? Because this is experience, and that's like, and it can be quite confronting to some people, especially these things like, hey, I'm a stranger, tell me all of your fears.
We do that on the show, especially because we're all I run the show exclusively with basically strangers, so I'm always like, if there's anything that, like, I'll describe the game we're gonna play to them. And I go, if there's anything here that you want me to only allude to or just cut out entirely, let me know. And it's great. And I always love the counter argument these the older generations like to do, where it's like, I don't do any of that baby stuff. I just tell them that my game's gonna be hard as shit, and if they don't like it, they can leave. And it's like, my guy, that's a safety tool.
Yeah.
You're setting up the expectations right there.
Just because you said snowflake and cuck.
I don't use pronouns. I'm a he.
My guy.
I'm afraid to tell you this. Obviously, there's like more questions that we can ask, but this has just been great. Like,
it's been fun. It's nice.
I really enjoyed like all the laughs, of course, but like getting to like connect philosophically and talk about like the funs and the necessities of the genres and stuff.
I think we've all sounded very clever.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Positively.
I'm glad that we're smart.
Sound like professionals.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, we know we're fucking doing and have our shit together. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I listen. I know we're towards the end here. I just just to reemphasize it. I mean it. Like Grant Howitt opened the door, whether he realizes it or not, for me and to really like nail down the style of my voice and genre and show. So like getting to just talk with you about RPGs is like, I can't believe I'm at a point in my life where that can happen and I can talk to somebody like that.
Well, so firstly, you shot your shot, which is important. You got to shoot your shot, and I will say I turned down a few shots. But oh, hello! So there's a cat in my room.
Surprise!
You shot your shot, which is important. But secondly, we have the same first name.
Yeah.
And no one with the same first name has asked me to be on a podcast of 3 people before. Which I've got to say, Willow, I think you've done very well not referring to one of us throughout this episode.
Yeah, I didn't get confused once.
Yeah, try and avoid it at all costs.
Just don't mention any of us by name.
Yeah, I know.
Could the esteemed gentleman in the baseball cap.
This is my question for you. Yeah, no.
I've never esteemed anything.
No, and I'm just like so thankful that you were even willing to do this too, because like
It's a bit fun, isn't it? It's
yeah,
all
it
right.
is, and it's
I listened to your show, and you seemed like you got your head screwed on, and you had that excellent flying ship metaphor. And so firstly, you had that excellent flying ship metaphor, and then Willow, you wouldn't stop barracking him and really like riding him around and being rude, and I really like that in a host. So I thought, oh, yeah, I'd go for a bit of that. You've been quite deferent, unfortunately, but that's okay.
You're really polite, actually. What the fuck?
It's only for Grant. I'll only harass Grant.
Right. One day I'll make my Honey Heist, and she'll treat me with the respect I deserve.
Even then, I don't think so.
No.
After Anthony and after Anthony March in the paranormal episode, no, never.
That's fair. That is fair. We had Willow on our show, and our characters butted heads a lot. So now Willow and I have a dynamic locked in.
It's wonderful playing a game with someone who you like and is also willing to just tear the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So much.
Don't be too precious about it.
I end up like every time I play a game with Chris, I'm a co-author. He kind of ends up becoming a secondary adversarial GM.
I know a few people like
not adversarial to the players, adversarial to me directly.
Yeah, you personally.
Yes.
and he will with like not a straight face with a grin turn to me and no button idea and tell me to fuck off.
I have a player who I work with a lot who played a game with me recently, and like I was like telling like one of the other players like the scene what they can do. We were just riffing back and forth, and he turns to her and goes, "You're not supposed to help him. You're not supposed to make him feel like he's succeeding. Like you got to be meaner to Grant." I'm like, "You shut the fuck up."
Not in front of the new players.
Stop it! I'll kill you.
I love.
I've done it before. I'll do it again.
In game.
Yeah, in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll hop on Minecraft after this, and you're dead. Oh my god, no! But
Willow, thank you a ton for organizing this. This has been a blast.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. No, this was awesome. And I guess like final thing, Grant. Yeah, people know where to find you. I'll put all the links there.
I know.
Well,
Which one?
Grant Nordine. Grant Nordine.
Got her. Finally.
How dare you? But Grant Howitt, because I didn't actually have you do it properly at the beginning. Before we finally end off here, can you tell everyone where they can find you and where they can get your awesome games and be able to play Honey Heist for themselves and also commit vehicular manslaughter?
Absolutely. Yeah. For Honey Heist, simply type the words Honey Heist into Google and you'll find that a lot of other layouts that are better than mine. So take those and play it. If you want to commit vehicular bare manslaughter. I am GS Howitt. That's GSHOWITT on most things. Not G Showit, which is it's fun to pronounce it that way, but it's not. I get that a little bit, but GS Howitt anywhere. And if you want to see like our big sort of grown up games, if hearing me chat with Grant here made you think like, oh, what a clever and erudite fellow, I'd love to pay over £40 for something he made. You can go to rrdgames.com, which is our big fancy new website. And I want you to know, on all the product photography that we have on that website, if you see a cool, moody looking picture of a book with fog behind it, that's not fog, that's vape. And I was crouched by the side of the table, huffing an overclocked vape rig.
Perfect.
Because the smoke machine broke.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta make it yourself. Hey, it's being resourceful.
Oh, we hired a photographer. He had lights. We had a set. He was just like, can you vape over this? Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Running over there right now.
Yes, you can. So yeah, rdgames.com. You can get all of my free games are on there. All of our expensive games are on there. We have, especially for the American audience, unlike a lot of Brits, we have a fulfillment center in America as well, so you can get things with reasonable postage, although still crazy postage because 2024.
Yeah.
But you can have the games. That's nice. And if you are interested in the only one other thing I will say is please search for Eat the Reich. And throw a pre-order at it because I don't sell it through the website, and it's big dumb fun.
Hell yeah. And all of those links, of course, will be in the description just to actually be able to find them easier.
I always used to say that when I did podcasts. I never put a link in anywhere.
Well, I follow through.
Willow does.
Wow.
I'll vouch for her. She does.
Oh, hats off to you. What a professional.
Yeah, I put my links there. I want people to find the games. Like, mostly it's because I want people to find the games, because sometimes it can be hard to know where to look.
And that is the point of your show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps. It helps.
Come to think of it, yeah, it might be.
Willow and I got that sister show thing going on. It's like a whole bunch of games hyping up creators. So when we say link in the description, we kind of have to mean it.
Yeah.
But oh my goodness, yeah, no, this was absolutely great, absolutely chaotic and tons of fun. Thank you so much, Grant, for coming on to do this with me. I hope everyone had a great time listening. Maybe we'll figure out how to do something like this again. I don't know. We'll see. Future.
We'll figure it
Yeah.
out. Who knows?
But yeah, thank you so much, Grants, for coming on. Thank you everyone for listening. And yeah, end of the episode, because someone has to go eat.
Bye.
People have to
Bye,
go
Willow.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Everyone just starts screaming. Quick.